All right, everyone got their tech experts hats on. A techspert? Is that what they call them?
That's what we are.
I'm ready to count the teraflops.
Rob, are you 8K ready?
Oh, I've been AK ready.
I just got
AK ready.
I think
all my shit is ready for AK, but not at a frame rate anything will serve.
We are here. There's going to be a brief what Sony is calling a technical presentation from I don't know what Mark Cerny's actual title at Sony is.
This is some ancient history. Somebody's wearing a White Sox cap instead of a brown paper bag.
Oh my!
Were the White Sox good in the 90s?
Yeah.
Is that?
Holy, Frank Thomas? You kidding? I mean,
yeah,
okay.
I guess that is
Were they
Frank
a great
Thomas
team,
era.
but they had some great players.
They were a fun team. They were a fun team.
Blackjack. Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about Frank Thomas.
Bunny Mac. This is where Overwatch stole it from.
Where's Jumping Flash? Bring that back. Come on.
Hey, that's a fucking racing game.
An ultra-high-speed bus architecture.
2D bitmap graphics.
What does that even mean?
More than
Ring back.
sprites per second.
I remember when bitmaps were you'd constantly see that mentioned, like when this became, but I think it was more in a three-dimensional context. It was like bitmaps. It basically felt like you're adding textures to, like actual texture to like a model, if I remember correctly, of like a
Was that bump
boring way of
maps?
describing how it worked. Was it bump maps?
That's like that was the Halo thing. I mean, a bitmap is just like a type of. It's like a early JPEG.
Custom three-dimensional graphics hardware is a true.
So we're like PlayStation 1.
We got
JPEGs.
We've got JPEGs.
Did we have JPEGs in 1994?
Not that anyone
What was
knew.
the predominant graphics format in
It probably
the
was
early
JPEG
90s?
back there, right?
An early JPEG format?
Yeah. I mean, I remember bitmaps. Like,
I remember
BMP.
Yes,
Yes,
BMP. I remember that.
Yeah.
What else am I putting into MS Paint?
Yeah, exactly. The rawest one-to-one, every pixel is a bit image format. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so when you want to raw dog an image, you want to.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Multiple light sources can be used
Yeah.
for further subtlety and quality to the 3D.
JPEGs were invented in 1992. Nice.
Okay, good for JPEGs.
Objects and lights can be
Early 90s was dot papyrus. Cado's paying attention to the actual. When that technical presentation starts, we will swap over. It should be any second now, but.
Yeah.
I was just looking for old PlayStation 1 footage, and honestly, I think I might be more interested in watching this presentation than
This is spectacular.
whatever the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to end up being.
Look at how squishy that D20 is.
Yeah.
Ooh, bouncy.
There's so much.
Yeah,
physics
KDR
happening.
11.
Whoa.
Oh no! Oh no! What is this man's
Who's
mouth
this little
doing?
guy?
Why does his eyes move like
That's
that?
not Blasto.
This is a first draft of Crash.
Very natural movement to be included in game design.
Quest 65, Ether's Elixirs, that's a good pull.
Full motion video. That's the shit right there.
A standard feature
They haven't gone live yet.
is high
I'm refreshing.
So
Wait,
this video
They're showing
is it comes
Ghostbusters
from
2?
video can be mapped directly onto 3D polygon images.
well because it could show this is the heyday of FMV. Rob?
Was there a Ghostbusters 2 FMV game that I didn't?
No, but
They were just letting you like imagine.
just
what
so
if
you
there
know.
were.
What if?
yeah, because you couldn't play movies on a PlayStation 1.
Pitch modulation.
I don't think
this-
there were CD movies.
Sample looping.
Is this not on their?
Easily
Is it only on their
combined
YouTube?
Features of the PlayStation allow
Uh-oh.
Imagine a
Gotta
game where you like
find
complete the puzzle and you use like
They've gotta
the
be on.
right paint restoration mix on Janosch, and then you get to watch the cutscene with the Statue of Liberty crashing through the museum. That'd be great.
Oh, Cado, I think you gotta
Yep,
be on YouTube.
got it.
Okay, but we're still good. Oh, wow. Okay, all right. We're just sliding into home base.
Ah! Sorry.
Oh, no.
Stop it. Close it. There we go.
First, I want to take just a minute to look at what we put.
It didn't go live on.
Oh, and there it is. Oh, wow. It's what we thought it was.
When PS5 debuted in 2020, it brought a lot.
We could not create the PS5 Pro without increasing the DualSense price by $5 recently.
And enable
Thank you.
high-speed complex gameplay with character counts reaching into the hundreds and frame rates that can be as high as 120 frames a second.
But not
They
usually.
can be.
PS5 has a powerful
But very
Could be.
rarely.
GPU, which can
In
render
Could
theory.
be. Do a lot of
intricate
things.
details
A lot of things can
to
happen.
fantastic worlds with vast
That's why we put 8K on the outside of the
Ray
PlayStation
tracing allows for
5
dramatic
box.
Visual improvements, including reflections off of water or glass,
That water does look good.
and the
The
realism
frames do not, however.
from real-time global illumination.
Ray tracing. The reason we have a PS5 Pro, because we added all this 4K and ray tracing to these boxes and realized they can't handle them.
And data streaming rates so high that traversal speeds are essentially unlimited. Tempest 3D audio tech brings an unparalleled sense of immersion to the sound of the games.
Huh?
With audio so
I'm always
real,
thinking
you may
of
not
Tempest.
even need to see the enemies to know exactly where they are.
Okay, Mark.
Are we?
Finally,
Let's
the DualSense controller has
ratchet it
Are we
back
still
a little
talking
bit.
about the original
what the
PlayStation?
character is
We
experiencing
are.
inside.
Okay.
How else do you think we're gonna get to?
It's
How much
wonderful
could
to
really
see
be in a
such
PS5
variety
Pro,
and richness of
Cado?
game experiences. Creators have made amazing use of the hardware capability.
We might be getting a
When I talk to
PS6
them,
in 2
I do
years.
hear about their desire for more graphics performance.
Ugh.
The dreams of the developers are bigger than can be supported at 60 frames per second, and that leads
YouTube
to an
does not
aspect
like
of
what I'm
modern
doing
gaming
right
that
now.
we're all familiar with: graphics modes. It can be a difficult choice for players. Fidelity
Is it?
modes emphasize
Wow, there it
Uh-oh,
goes. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. YouTube does not like what I'm doing
else
right now.
emphasize the visuals.
Hey, how do we
Okay.
activate
Higher
performance mode on the
resolution
stream?
rendering.
Just
Go
do the
down to
720.
720.
Don't try to go any higher. We're
These modes might
outputting to
also
people
have
at.
enhanced detail
Yeah.
or use more ray tracing. But the games only run at 30 frames per second. The visuals can be choppier.
Cado
and the
only goes into
controls
Rob
less
mode
responsive.
when Cado wants to run a
Performance
YouTube
mode
video at a
emphasizes
higher
frame rate
resolution
and interactivity.
to the
typically
audience.
choosing to run at 60 frames
Look,
per
they're
second.
they're going at like 4K. We could get to 1080. Here's the thing: is that if we were
Mainly
on,
by reducing
if
the
they were
graphical
on
detail until
fucking
those frame
Twitch, I
rates can
could
be
give
achieved.
1080. But they
When
didn't let
asked
me
to
steal their
decide on the
stream.
mode, players are choosing performance about 3/4 of the time. Removing that decision, or at least narrowing that divide, is one of the key targets for PlayStation 5 Pro. We want to give players the
I gotta
graphics
admit that does
and
speak to me.
creators
I play
the
every
high
game in
frame rate
performance
that players
mode.
typically prefer. To do that, PS5 Pro
Mr. Cerny, I will give you $699, which is probably what you're going to charge for this.
Here's
I'll
what
do
we
it.
call
It's worth
the
it.
Big Three. First, we
Thank
made
you,
the
Ben
GPU
H.
Much larger
It's
and
YouTube's
increased
fault.
The speed of the memory it uses. The result is rendering that's up to 45% faster.
Wow.
Second, we made major upgrades to the ray tracing, taking a streamlined and
Up
accelerated
to-
approach that allows calculation of the rays at double or even triple the speeds
Yeah,
of
up
PlayStation
to.
5.
Look what's happened to our
And
old
finally,
friends in
we
the
added
intervening
custom
25
hardware
years.
for machine learning and an AI library called PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or PSSR
Hell
for
yeah.
short.
Let's put
Oh,
some
that's why we were
GPUs
looking
out
at the
there.
Ghostbusters for.
Back in the
That's what they used in the Ghost House.
And can add
The
an
PlayStation
extraordinary
Super
amount of
Spectral.
detail, which boosts the effective resolution of the games. Game creators are adding PS5 Pro support to new and existing titles, and with the big three involved, the results can be pretty amazing. With graphics showing something like fidelity
The big
levels of
three.
detail, but at double the frame rate. Here's The Last of Us Part 2 running on PS5 Pro. It has huge amounts of detail and targets a super
Nope.
smooth
Looks
60
good.
frames per second. Let's compare this to the fidelity mode on PS5, which is only running at 30.
Let's compare this to the garbage that you have in your home at the moment.
Yeah.
You morons. I can't believe this is how you're playing video
Has
games
been
right
achieved
now.
For a broad set of titles, including Marvel's Spider-Man 2,
I'm gonna have to go and watch
Ratchet
the
and Clank
original of
Rift
this
Apart.
later, so
We
I can see if
that
that
PS5
difference
Pro
actually
is
is
close to
perceptible to
doubling
me.
the
At
I don't
all.
know how much. I mean, look, 30 to
It-
60, meaningful.
Yeah.
But
Another way to compare the two consoles is to look at PS5 Pro versus performance.
1080 to
on PS5,
4K in
both
video
of which
games, like I
target
find to be
60
far
frames per
less
second.
meaningful.
What we see here is a difference in detail.
Noticeable, but far less
PS5
meaningful.
Pro is much sharper and crisper than PS5. For this, my favorite is the parade scene.
So Rob, I think part of what they're, you know, some, and
Details are much clearer.
companies are
Here,
running
we can see Marvel's
compressed
Spider-Man
through
2
with this
with
stuff.
noticeably higher resolution throughout the scene.
Whoops.
Including the trees and procedural cars.
Not gonna do that anymore.
So
I had to open a
overall,
tab.
remarkable
All
improvement.
right, Cado, just
On
Yeah, I'm
PS5,
leaving it
let the video
alone.
play.
sharpness to the graphics or smoother
Not
and more
great.
responsive gameplay. This is the big three showing their value.
Nah,
you've been
bad
seeing,
attack. That just
machine
I tried to
learning
open
via
a
the
tab
processor
to see if
library
they had
is
gone
being
live on
used
YouTube
quite
on
broadly
Twitch
to
or
add
not.
Pixel detail and boost frame rate. But there are as many approaches as there are game engines.
There was a meeting where they talked about we're going to call this the big three. How do we get people to care about a bunch of technology junk
From the detail
that
boost, that
doesn't
extra
exactly roll
graphics
off the
power
tongue?
is allowing for improvements to lighting and visual effects.
The
As
problem is
well
they're
as
not
to the
letting
air and the
they're not letting
skin and
Cerny fly
cinematics.
free here.
Open
This is
up
the
this
most
Mm-hmm.
like consumer facing presentation he's given.
Right.
in
Just get
ages,
sicko
rather
mode.
than like one of his real
Ray tracing is
grotesque,
finding broad
like
usage as well,
yeah.
particularly when the games are focused on higher frame rates. The faster hardware in PS5 Pro can make a real difference. Allowing Gran Turismo 7 to add ray-traced reflections between the cars in gameplay, while continuing to support their targeted 60 frames per second. That boost in ray tracing is also delivering big wins for Hogwarts Legacy. Allowing
okay.
not only for better reflections and a greater variety of reflective
All right,
surfaces,
Cado, now's the
but
time for you to
also
start
for further
futzing with
Yeah,
quality
hold
and make
on,
that
let me
stream
just
crash.
fucking-
pick your
Hold on, I
moments,
gotta
Cado. Pick your moment. Oh, no. Oh, Mark.
It's the most powerful console we've ever built, and a worthy.
He came back
addition
with a
to
new
the
haircut.
PS5 family. Let me wrap this up by giving you a quick look at a number of games running on the new console.
Why does he look like Dana Carvey ate Paul McCartney?
Yes.
I've been trying to hold my tongue on it. It's like, you know, you don't want to, but
I'm sorry.
PS5 Pro, ribbed for your pleasure.
Close your eyes. It'll be worth it.
People want out the no disk drive thing. That was definitely a rumor ahead of things, but there is a accessory drive you can buy for the diskless PlayStation 5. So I think that's how they're
That's some
going to
bullshit.
cut a corner here. Is look, this is all just moving towards where I need to get to anyway, which is I pretty much buy all digital video games, but all physical movies, and so I've been hovering over the region-free 4K modded player. I got my Godzilla minus
Well,
one
and
4K
also,
in the mail
you don't have the
yesterday.
dedicated?
It's like, yeah,
Because yeah, once I let him feel like a dedicated player versus like the Xbox, it was like okay, these are not remotely the same quality.
yep. Well, and I also just ran into an issue recently where I thought my Alien quadrilogy
Oh, they said
was
it.
scratched. I was right.
Yeah.
There we go.
Was scratched, and they don't make the quadrilogy anymore, so it's like wildly overpriced if you want to replace the discs or the bundle.
Wait.
And then someone said actually the PlayStation 5 just has trouble with the Alien discs specifically. I was like, okay. But I'm tired of dealing. I need a box that will just play my movies and play them well and play whichever one I put in it. So
real quick, hey, what's
Okay.
this? What's QB School got to say today?
that's
Patrick?
you want to see the analysis of Caleb Williams week one?
There's so much to get into, but you know, hey, this wasn't the only exciting tech that's being announced. Someone want to pull up the Remarkable 2 Pro?
Excuse me?
Oh yeah, that's right, baby. Their new e-ink tablet just dropped.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
pull it up. We got to go to a podcast, but I mean, we can go to Tablet Town for a little bit. PlayStation
no.
blog.
It's priced
we got going on here?
competitively with the PlayStation 5 Pro.
Competitively. The future of paper is here.
That's right, Mad Machine 6. Time for color. You thought you saw colors in that PlayStation presentation? Not like these.
Replace your notes and printed documents with a digital notebook that feels like paper.
Ooh, look at those colors.
It's in the feeling, the sound,
So true.
the freedom of it. Just like writing on paper, but something entirely new.
Thoughts
You
are
see how
limitless.
easily she's
I
ideating?
need a place to capture them. Somewhere they can gather, grow. I want something that can hold me in the moment. So
I love
am
to be
focused.
held
Nothing
by
steals
technology.
my attention.
I would like to be comforted by pixels.
Slowing down actually
Grizzly
gets me to
Tron,
where
is
I
this
want
not
to
the
be.
same video we watched last year?
Faster.
It's completely different. Do you not see the
Everything.
marker and the colors?
When you
Yeah,
feel
the
so
colors.
close to your work, progress comes naturally.
Rob talking to his accountant.
Did they get Terrence Malick to make this?
I
What
needed
is
this
going
one.
on?
I
My work,
The business also had to purchase
no
this.
matter where I am.
Lovick, Rob just needs an iPad Pro. Rob has an iPad Pro.
Making the most out of my mind.
Yes,
Whenever I needed
that's
to.
me. That's me. Gotta make the most out of my mind.
This will be it. We're just wait. We've been waiting ages to finally unlock Rob's acne. This is it. It would be remarkable to have full Rob's acne.
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah.
That.
See,
nice
it's
term
like
on it.
inks.
Huh.
So, look,
Is this
am I
$7.99
getting this
or more?
Yes.
Oh,
Is it? It's less than $7.99, right? I can't remember.
oh, I didn't know if you were making that comparison because it actually was.
Oh no, it's
it
it is
struck me as-
closer to the PS5 Pro than you might like.
Well,
We
less
found
so if
a
you're-
way
if
to
you live
make a notebook.
the PS5 Pro, some of these exchange rates, man. You buy PS5 Pro in Japan, $840 when you do the conversion. It's bad out there.
From seven.
$840. Just buy a PC.
If you compare that to the aforementioned iPad Pro, it's quite reasonable, isn't it? Now, can this do many things? No. but it could be a
For all
really
those
good
project
notebook.
milestones.
Look!
would
You
be
can
a good-
you can add.
Yeah. You can add a keyboard. You can add a keyboard. Well, because
I mean,
at
that's
that
pretty
point,
standard
basically-
price.
Yeah.
The iPad one's about that cost as well. How much
Really?
is that pen? cost?
200?
Is that bundled? If you want the fancy Apple one, there's a Logitech one that's also like pretty decent. That's like half the price.
Broccoli
gotta
Bot.
go
Wait, is the PS
basalt.
Pro thing just going on and we're not watching it?
No, it happened.
No,
we're done.
It's done.
It's done.
Good.
And now we're on to
They showed-
we're on to some other game-changing technology.
Hey, look! I made it more
We're trying to
expensive than a
find-
PS5 Pro.
Yeah. We're trying to find Rob's big three: the Paper Pro,
Aw.
the Type Folio, and the marker tips.
You gotta. So look, for me, this is exciting because there's a lot of folks who are really diehard about Remarkable, and they're like, Remarkable is like low key the best e-ink notebook device there is, but Remarkable is the kind of company I gather.
We're going
They
with
just
the.
stayed on old tech. They didn't see any need to improve until they had something meaningful to bring to the table, and here it is.
This actually, this seems like an annoying pain point though. Someone points this out in the chat. Who was the person that mentioned it? I will try and find it to credit it. Oh yes, Cavil at Rest. You can't edit stuff like Word docs or Google Docs. You can only bring them in as PDFs that are not editable. You would have to sync them bring them in as the proprietary remarkable format, and then send them back out. That seems annoying. Which actually we talked in Remap Hotline this week. That was like that was an enormous talking point that we had about the annoyance of finding like we live in an age of remarkable hardware, but in an age of also incredibly proprietary
everything's
software.
kneecapped. Yeah.
Like incredible. Like this is probably an incredible device that I can imagine. Like when you're doing it for explicitly the thing of taking notes or some project planning, beautiful, gorgeous. But could you just do like 5% more to fit in more of my workflow? Simply not. Simply not. You must simply hack me and find some custom firmware to make it happen.
So the one thing is, I think for me, I'm less like can I edit Word docs in this? This isn't necessarily a place where it's like I'm going to be editing these things. You know what I mean? It's like that is annoying, but that is a different space that type of work occupies than what I might be using the Remarkable for. So it's one of those questions as to like it suffers some functionality, but that functionality is like already exists on a dozen other devices that you have lying around. So the thing it specializes in is it meaningfully better. But the weird thing about Remarkable is it's very indifferent to other ecosystems. Like they basically, I don't think the Remarkable might not integrate with shit as far as like ebook libraries. It might literally be like you can load whatever ebook format you want in here. Have fun, knock yourself out. Are we going to make that easy for you? Like you're going to be able to fire up like and sync your ebook library from another service? No. So it's like encouraging you, and maybe this is a feature. It's encouraging you to like live DRM free. The Remarkable is here to liberate you.
You gotta get the plus, right? You gotta get the plus with the extra little nib of a eraser on it.
Oh yeah.
Because what would you do without that?
I bought a thing. I was like, do I really need that eraser? I regret that every day. Yeah, I do need the eraser. I do.
Well, but if you're gonna get something like this, you might as well get it all. You know what I mean? Like, if you're choosing to go down the path of a device like a Remarkable,
it's too late to economize.
Yeah, no, just like, don't like accept the sticker shock of it's actually a $1,200 boutique device to do a very niche activity. But if that niche activity makes you happy, then like just embrace that part of it. Like I feel like skirting around the edges on a device like this. I understand why they do it so they can make the checkout process like maybe you can rope some people in, but like they're mostly appealing to sickos who's like, yes, I am fine with spending the cost of a high-end gaming PC on a note-taking device, and that's okay. That could be your thing.
There's some argument over the Rob lore here. Somebody's asking if I already bought this, and Lovick think I have. No, I have not bought this device. I've coveted the Remarkable, but it was so old compared to the other e-ink tablets, I didn't get it because I had in mind they might roll out another one. What I did get was the Onyx Books 3, I think. So that is that is the one I got.
You added an I think.
Well, because the Onyx naming conventions are terrible. Like everything is an Onyx Books, and so like figuring out which exact Air 3C.
Onyx Books Note Air C. That is some. I don't know if you've seen the meme going around about like people making fun of like Sony's hardware like naming conventions for their headphones. That's been cracking me up.
Yeah, so this is people. Yeah, so everyone's encountering it. Like the problem is the iPad has drawbacks in certain things. Books is really good at some things, but kind of overall feels jank as hell. And I don't know, maybe the Remarkable one is where I can find love.
This will fix me.
Slowly,
I'm in like a 90s
advancing.
rom-com. I'm in a 90s rom-com, but for like computerized like notebooks. And then at the end of it, it's gonna be like New Year's Eve. I find myself outside a Moleskine store, and then Old Lang Syne starts to play. And I just cleared that fucker out. Anyway,
Don't go back.
exciting days for tech. Stepping back though, look at where we are. I am eager to be sold on, like, do you want the same thing but like more expensive?
Mm-hmm.
That's me.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not find anything moving about that PS5 Pro presentation.
Yeah, I mean, it's the sticker shock is real, right? Like, I think that's probably, a response to just like the sheer economics of making devices like that right now, and really calls into question what is like the next generation of console. I think if you look at the PS5 Pro as, in the same slot it was with the PS4 Pro, we're roughly 2 years out from like next sets of proper hardware from a lot of device makers, and that was a hard sell. I mean, you're just selling a gaming PC at this point. Or I think actually what more likely where we're at is, I think the PS5 Pro is a baby PlayStation 6. It's a PlayStation 6 Lite. And what you're just buying in advance is sort of like the Pro model of an iPhone or a Pixel or something like that. And then what comes out in 2 years will be a PlayStation 6 that either takes that slot, and then the PlayStation 5 Pro moves down, but all those games are going to run on both devices. There will not be a single PlayStation 6 exclusive. There will be games that run on PlayStation 5 Pro, and they run better on PlayStation 6. And that's the sort of parity difference they're going to be going between these devices going forward. But like making it a tighter knot than the Xbox Series X and Series S, so that one is not like constantly sort of hobbling the other device in the way that the Series S seems to have done throughout this generation.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that, like, well, these things are hard sells through just because of video compression, and that's true. Like, we kind of knew that going in, that, like, the difference isn't gonna pop, even not watching through our like restream, right? Like, even if you like, it's hard to perceive these things at home, but increasingly also hard to perceive them in person. And I think the problem for me is, having seen how this all played out with the PlayStation 5 and the Series X, you can tell me that, like, hey, we're trying to get it so that, like, you don't even have to choose. You can just run in quality mode and it'll perform great and it'll be awesome. I don't believe you, because that's not how these games are coming out, right? Like, to a degree, a lot of this performance stuff is a lot to do with development, right? And ability to like deliver to these performance standards. And so, yeah, you can throw more hardware at the problem, but I just don't believe that you're going to immediately get to a place where it's like, and now I don't have to choose between the game looking freaking awesome and then feeling good to play. I think you're still gonna face that problem. I don't think the PlayStation 5 Pro is gonna solve that. I think it's just gonna kind of move where that goal line is.
Yes, I think that's fundamentally it, right? And it's certainly sort of, I think, gives away the game. What would Sony love to promise with a device like this? You buy a PlayStation 5 Pro, you're a prosumer. You value performance. All PlayStation 5 games running at 60 frames a second. They can't do that. So instead, he has to sort of wish-wash between, like, well, we'd love for you to have to choose less. And with the PlayStation 5 Pro, this baseline of this hardware is going to mean that you have to make that choice less. It's really no different than just buying a new graphics card. Like, that's where we've ended up. Like, would you want to run at ultra settings? Okay.
Yeah.
Every 4 years, you got to, buy a new card. And that kind of seems like we're ending up, where we're ending up more on the spectrum of phones and tablets, where the majority of people who buy Grand Theft Auto 6 next year are going to do so on a PlayStation, like would do so on a PlayStation 4 if they could. And so I bet a bunch of them move to a PlayStation 5, but like the incentive structure is just not there unless there's something truly drastic, generational, or your device breaks. And so that's just where game consoles are, unless you're doing things like Nintendo, where you're actually innovating on hardware. The DualSense, having 2 games a generation, both made by Team Asobi and starring Astrobot, does not justify your fancy controller that you just increased by $5. At that point, you might as well have just produced a cheaper controller with less doodads and a better battery, and like made it cost less. And I think a lot of people would have been happier over the lifetime of the PlayStation 5.
Okay, but we also got, what was it? Returnal with the triggers and the
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, and then it stopped.
and then it stopped.
And then no one talked about the DualSense until Astrobot came out.
Yeah.
And even Astrobot uses it well, but it is not a focal point. I am not constantly thinking about the DualSense playing Astrobot in the way that I was when I played Astro's Playroom. It's on purpose. Like there's a different hierarchy of what they're trying to accomplish. But yeah, between an inability to this started with the PlayStation 4 Pro when we watched that unveiling. I felt sort of bad for Sony in a certain sense. We're like, there's just no way to properly convey. Even I am like, I do know there's a difference, a meaningful one between 1080 and 4K. I don't care that much about it when it comes to video games. I at this point do prize performance over that. But now we're getting such diminishing returns on what you can even. How do you convey AI upscaling in? They did it. They did it by like pixelating a Ratchet and Clank image. like we're gonna make this lower res to convey the sense that we're going to higher res, even though that's not exactly. I mean, I understand the technical thing they're trying to explain there, but it's just. I'm with you, Rob. I think if they were going to do this presentation, they should have just let Mark Cerny for 45 minutes. Like, get highly, highly technical. Like, he's a smart guy. There is probably incredibly cool technology that's happening under the hood, but it's all being presented in, like you said, the most consumer-friendly way. The problem is consumers broadly, the mainstream consumer, is not going to care about this. The person who cares about this is the person who would watch a 45-minute presentation explaining, like, kind of like when Johnny Ive would come out and like sort of explain, like, spend 5 minutes explaining like a process they went through to achieve a certain like aluminum look on the watch or whatever. It's a bunch of bullshit, but he knows what he's talking about it. And I like hearing him talk about it. And Cerny has a similar sort of vibe that I think if they just gone full hog into, here's what I've been cooking for the last 8 months. Like, let's do a GDC presentation. I think it would have probably gone over better and better conveyed what's actually happening with the device.
Yeah, Cado, do they have anything up about that external disk drive? Yeah, is there like a page for it that lays out? Because like the issue with the Sony disk drive is that they didn't spring for like Dolby Vision, which is one of the formats that like Dolby Vision works for the games, but they didn't spring for the license for physical media on the PlayStation 5.
Wow.
And so,
really?
Yeah. So this is why, like, the thing they've ended up with was the PlayStation 3 was a really good Blu-ray player, and it won over a lot of people because it was like, it's a good console. I thought it was a good console. It had its issues, but like, it's a good console, and then it's a really good Blu-ray player. It's kind of 2-in-1, great value, even though it's a really expensive box. But the PlayStation 5 media player options are not good. So yeah, like you pop in a Dolby Vision disc, it doesn't give you the Dolby Vision. Both consoles kind of have mediocre Blu-ray players. And
here, Rob, I'm gonna send you in our Discord. This is the
old one,
blog
right?
post. Kind of, do you want to just like bring up that blog post? Then we just like scroll through it. Other enhancements include PlayStation 5 Game Boost, which can apply to more than 8,500 backwards compatible PS4 games playable on PS5 Pro. This feature may stabilize or improve the performance of supported PS4 and PS5 games. Enhanced image quality for PS4 games is also available to improve the resolution on select PS4 games. PS5 Pro will also launch with the latest wireless technology, yada, yada, yada. VRR and 8K gaming are also supported. Shut the fuck up! Shut up! Stop! What are we doing? What are we doing?
8K gaming.
they really like putting that 8K logo on things, even though there's only a couple 8K TVs, and they haven't been. There's not.
Didn't they take? They took the sticker off, right? I feel like that was.
Yeah, they stopped putting the 8K sticker on things.
I think that was a bit 8K logo PlayStation. Yeah,
Look,
June 6, 2024. Tech Radar. Sony has seemingly started to remove the 8K logo from PS5 boxes. In 2020, Sony said the console would allow 8K resolution output, quote, after a future system software update. So is this an acknowledgement that the PlayStation 5 base model will never get 8K output, and that's just been shifted to a sentence on the blog post for the PlayStation 5 Pro?
Class action lawsuit time, folks.
Hey, I've cashed in on one of those before, Rob. I'm ready to do it again.
You were on the cutting edge of Sonos having normal ones.
Isn't Steam having one of those right now? I feel like somebody's doing a class action against Steam that I heard about tangentially.
There is a suit happening related to pricing. I forget. Some developer was bringing that against them. I don't know if there's a credible consumer class action. If you want to believe in additional, why does Sony secretly hate Bloodborne, and or they're working on a Bloodborne remake? When you announce that PS5 Pro Game Boost is going to add better frame rates and image quality to older games, and then you don't just show off what that might do to a game like Bloodborne, or more likely they just don't support Bloodborne as one of those games, that's just a fuel for the fire that they hate that game or they're doing something with it. Can't tell.
Wait, I'm confused about what's going on in this image. Is this just comparing the...
Those are the two machines.
Are they scale so that's not perspective. The one is bigger.
It's
just
bigger?
bigger with stripes, and you can tell. And also the vents. It looks like it just kind of exploded out of its original housing. They went oh, and kind of Akira'd into becoming the PlayStation 5 Pro.
Right.
I think that's ugly as fuck. By the way,
it just gets a little higher. Yeah.
That is one of the most hideous. I actually don't mind the way the PlayStation 5 looks, but that does not look like a good iteration of that design.
It looks better horizontally than it does vertically. If you scroll,
That's good because the vertical stand sold separately. I know. I loved that detail.
But I mean, I think that tells you how price conscious, to get it to this price was itself a fight, which makes you then start to wonder, was this whole endeavor really worth pursuing? You can't get, the Dolby Atmos licensing because you got to cut costs. You can't get, a vertical stand, a piece of plastic that must cost pennies to produce. You can't include a disk drive. Also, you can get to the low price of $700 in the United States, and we're getting the best deal. Anywhere else, it's so much worse. Euros, way worse than we got it. Yen, that sucks. You're not buying a PlayStation 5 Pro. It is, if that's the best they could do, you start to wonder what was the point of going in that direction at all, and calls into question, I mean, a lot of their hardware strategy. I know the PlayStation Portal is quite liked. I've wanted to buy one a couple of times and haven't pulled the trigger. They've abandoned the PlayStation VR 2, and then they put out this absurdly expensive device in which they can't make a particularly credible argument on why someone would need to buy it, other than just appealing to GPU sickos, which I will probably be one of those. I will probably get one. I really don't turn on my Xbox Series X anymore. Because the games that come out from Xbox, I can play on my PC. So if I'm going to play a console, I'm going to play on PlayStation. And if I'm playing on PlayStation, I would prefer that to run better. So I will probably get one, but that's a unique case. And I have tax write-off benefits for purchasing it, which is not the average person. So I don't know what the pitch is here.
No, I mean, somebody pointed out, if you hadn't bought a PlayStation 5 yet, this is not a bad place to get in. It's expensive, but it's, to your point about, is it a pretty good game? Is the equivalent of a pretty good gaming PC for $700? That's not so bad. But it's very hard to justify the upgrade to it. I think is the like.
I agree.
And they even had something that spoke to me. It was like, hey, you know those car reflections you only get in photo mode in Gran Turismo? Now you can get them on the racetrack. And that's cool, but yeah, it's not as meaningful. Like, they kind of showed, like, this is where you're really going to notice it. It's like door-to-door racing, where cars are, like, just inches away from each other. But that's not how you spend most of your time in Gran Turismo. Like, it's rare that you're sitting there, like, in the heat of the moment being like, hey, wait. My car isn't being reflected in that guy's door panel with the correct distortion. This game fucking sucks. Yeah. It's
I will
no
say, I think this
remarkable
poses...
too.
No, it's not. Yeah, I just worry what this means for the future. Like, this presentation we just saw is closer to what you will see from, like, the next generation of hardware than it's not. You know what I mean? Like, what else can they really give you at this point? Go watch what Apple, you know, what they're promising with the new phone. Like, phones have a more or less plateaued. They're, like, experimenting with, you know, turning them into flip phones again. Like, what if you could fold it? It's
Your
fine if the
AirPods
phone
could
is
be a
just
hearing
phone.
aid, which is cool, right? But like
that's hardware innovation. That's hardware innovation.
Yeah.
Like, yes, like I would love for my mom to just be able to have her headphones and also be able to hear better.
Yeah, be
in
the same
like
thing, but like
a birthday party. But I don't think we're getting
expanded
anything
functionality,
like
but it's not. Yeah, it's not like transformative. For
No.
like it's a transformative use case for some people who really need it, but it's not like, and here's the next generation of this hardware and it's going to change the
Sure.
baseline experience of like,
Yes.
does this thing fucking work? So the other week, because I was a very good boy and I went to the RMV to update all my stuff. Afterwards, I went to the Apple store, and I, just to hang out, just see what's up, maybe just to contemplate some purchases. But one of the purchases I contemplated was the Vision, the Vision Pro.
Rob,
Well, I
all
wasn't
I have is Apple
contemplating.
devices. Okay. Did you do the demo?
I did the demo.
Oh no. Oh,
Anyway,
no.
so now I own a Vision Pro.
No!
Wait, no, I don't.
Okay,
I don't.
God.
Because here's the thing.
You could get it for 30 days though. Rob,
Oh.
could you go get it for 30 days?
Here's the problem. Have you done the demo?
No, I've wanted to. I just haven't had a chance to be over by an Apple.
It is instructive because it is it's like, wow, this thing really, really works in a lot of ways. It's really cool. Some of the stuff is really incredible. Then afterwards, I was like, I feel profoundly shitty. Like, I feel like I'm coming. I was in this thing for 20 minutes. And it was like I had skipped to the worst hangover I've had in years. Like, I'm sitting there in the mall, and I'm like, I feel like throwing up might make me feel better, but I can't really, like, I'm not nauseous, but, like, I feel wrong.
Uh-huh.
The other thing is this, like, it is so front-heavy, it doesn't feel good on your face. Like, it feels like this thing
a heavy
badly
device.
wants to fall off the front of your face, and, like, the only thing stopping it is, like, being strapped the fuck in. A day later, I still felt bad. A day later, I had, like, a persistent pain behind the eyes. And it's, like, that's sort of a telltale, like, there's a nerve that runs up between, like, your neck vertebrae and out around your eyes. That gets irritated. The pain can manifest behind the eyes, but it's actually a neck pain. And I was like, is this because the fucking Vision Pro? Is this like, did 20 minutes inside the Vision Pro destroy me?
Inside the
for
future?
a day?
The future's not for me?
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things. I was sitting there, I was like, maybe you could acclimate. You know what I mean? But like two things. Should you acclimate to that? Like, if your brain and your neck are immediately like, I reject this entire experience. Should you be like, shut the fuck up? I know better. We're going back in the Vision Pro. It's the future. But like, so like, should you acclimate to it is one question. And then once you're past that, is it still even worth it? You know what I mean? It's like, is there anything that it was doing that wasn't like, imagine the multi-monitor setup you could create for $3,500. Because that's really what they're like. It's infinite desktop space. You can just like put.
If
and
you,
feel
look,
cool.
look,
You're like,
I'm
you're
not
doing
trying to.
Minority Report.
If you traveled a lot, right? Like I've seen it. The most times I've seen that device.
Oh, we lost Patrick. You're still there, Rob, right?
Yeah, Patrick's getting too real about the Apple.
They
silenced
took
him.
him out. Patrick, you're back. You're back. Yeah.
I don't have it. I was on a flight like 12 times this summer at a bunch of work and personal stuff, and I said like every other flight, I would see someone in first class. It's always first class. One of those things on, and I can't imagine like if you have what you're saying. Yes, would you? For most people, is it better to spend a ton of money on a multi-monitor setup at home and like high-end machines? Probably. But if you are on the road a bunch, I can imagine your multi-monitor setup being that, and then a laptop or an iPad Pro or whatever being like, all right, now I'm going to sit and do email and just sort of clean up. But like, I need like 6 different spreadsheets open or whatever. I can imagine it. I don't need that. That's why, despite being a huge VR person, I didn't even do the demo. I didn't even want to be tempted. I was like, oh, I'm going to look at this and go, this seems neat. And then it's going to sit next to my PSVR 2 and not
it's neat. It's striking how much it's like, on the one hand, it's like they've gotten so close. Like, wow, this interface kind of works. It's cool. When they do the calibration, have you like control things with your eyes, you're like, damn, this totally works. It works right up until you're actually in apps trying to use their menus. And you're like, oh, it's not quite perfect though, is it? This is a little fussier than it felt like when I was just like looking in 6 directions, and it was like, yep, we figured out where your eyes are looking. It's so close in some ways, but yeah, it still feels really far off. And I think
the UI stuff is really neat. The UI stuff, like they solved a lot of really challenging, or got closer on a lot of really challenging UI problems. But it's crammed in a device that just makes no sense. Like it's too heavy, it's too expensive. It doesn't make sense. Like it's like there's no way to recommend it to literally anyone other than someone who could hold their hand up and go, I have a very specific use case, and that exists. That's the whole point we were talking about earlier with the other devices. There was someone in chat talking about how it's one of their favorite devices if it's exactly their workflow.
Yeah,
and it's like I can totally imagine that. And
how I ended up with
you don't
TV
have
bends. I was like, no, this isn't like what I need. It is what I need. And yeah, I can see I can see where that kind of applies to the Vision Pro, but like I was stunned at like how uncomfortable it was, and then sort of the lingering effect. But all of that would have changed had they been like, and also this time Apple's really going to be serious about games. No, we mean it this time. Here,
no, let's
fire up Flight Simulator in your Vision Pro. I'd be like, all right, here's the credit card. Let's roll.
Well,
all right,
we got to go record a podcast. And we've spent more time talking about the Apple Vision Pro.
We lost him again.
It's incredible.
You're back.
Let's take us out. Fine, I can't do the outro. Rob, take us out. We got to go record a podcast.
It's hard out there for launching new tech. It's hard out there for things that have Pro in their name. But, as long as they're early adopters like us out there, you know who you are. There will always be a home for some sort of doodad and widget. And there'll be a home for you at Remap Radio.